The cold light from the monitors cast pale reflections on Madison's focused face. She sat in the surveillance room of a Manhattan skyscraper where the air was thick with the smell of cheap vending machine coffee, male sweat, and strong cigarettes. Behind her, she could hear the short, lively shouts of security guards playing poker. A group of laughing men sat around the table. The head of security, Tony, sat at the head of the table, enjoying his power and the approving laughter of his subordinates. He had long established his own rules here. Madison had been working in security for a short time, the only woman in a male team. Tony had hired her to watch the cameras. She was now cast here, and she could feel it in every mocking glance. To these men, a female security guard was nonsense. Madison slowly turned to them. Her voice made the snickering stop. "Guys, the lunch break ended a long time ago. Are you going to work?" A stunned silence fell over the room. "Someone's woken up," one of the guards chuckled, tossing a card in Madison's direction. All eyes turned to Tony, waiting for his reaction. He slowly put down his cards. A smirk twisted his face. "Oh, Pierce is awake. Lunch is sacred. Sit down and watch your TV." Madison pointed to the large wall clock. The hand showed that lunch had been over for almost 20 minutes. Tony's face began to turn red. He threw his cards on the table. "All right, guys, back to your posts." The guards began to get up lazily, casting unfriendly glances at Madison. "Bossy," someone muttered. Tony felt like this fragile woman had challenged him. "You, Pierce, watch it. One more stunt like that and you're out of here." At that moment, the walkie-talkie crackled. "Tony, the boss's daughter is at the main entrance." The head of security exhaled. Well, Violet's here to see her daddy. I'll be right there." Madison silently watched the monitors. On one of the screens, she noticed something that caught her attention. A woman by the elevator was unconscious. Tony spun around to the screen and instantly turned pale when he saw the limp figure of a pregnant woman. The corporation head's daughter was lying unconscious in the lobby. "Listen to me," Tony barked into the walkie-talkie. "I'm calling 911. Don't leave Violet's side." He hastily dialed the number. "Ambulance, urgently." Then he turned to Madison. "Stay at the monitor."
5 minutes passed, and the silhouettes of paramedics appeared on the screen. The ambulance crew bent over the lying girl. They were hastily doing something, but Violet did not regain consciousness. Madison could see the hesitation in their actions. At that moment, a memory flashed in her mind. White coats, bright lights of an operating room. She was once known as one of the most talented surgeons in the city, Dr. Madison Pierce. But one day, she found herself in the crosshairs of an influential chief of medicine who was used to getting everything he wanted. Madison had firmly rejected him. After that, her career was destroyed. The chief of medicine, using his influence, had her license revoked. That's how a brilliant surgeon ended up here, in a cramped security room. The memory burned Madison. Now, she saw in the faces of the medics the same hesitation that could cost a life. Her doctor's instinct awakened. Forgetting Tony's order, Madison jumped up and ran to the first floor. When she ran into the lobby, a chaotic scene unfolded before her. A crowd had gathered around the body. Tony was darting about in the center, his eyes full of panic. Pushing her way to the center, Madison saw Violet. One look was enough to understand. The girl was fading. The paramedics were talking anxiously. "Blood pressure is dropping, pulse is thready," one of the paramedics said. Madison knew what she had to do. "Step aside." Her voice was sharp and commanding. The medics turned around. One of the paramedics, an older man, turned pale. "Madison, Dr. Pierce, is that you?" "Yes, it's me, Connor," she said curtly, already leaning over Violet. Tony noticed Madison. All his confusion instantly transformed into rage. "What the hell are you doing here? What did I tell you? Stay at your post." He lunged at Madison, but the older paramedic blocked his path. "Let her do it," Connor said with unexpected firmness. Without wasting a second, Madison turned to the medics. "Needle and syringe, now." The young female doctor quickly pulled a syringe from her bag. Madison instantly unbuttoned the girl's blouse, her fingers quickly finding the right spot. Then, without hesitation, she sharply inserted the needle between the ribs. A characteristic whistle of escaping air was heard. While Madison was busy, Tony, burning with rage, discreetly slipped into an elevator and pressed the button for the top floor, where the administration was located. Suddenly, the doors of another elevator opened, and a loud, commanding voice cut through the silence. "Where is my daughter? What have you done to her?" In the doorway stood Mr. Davis, the head of the company, a billionaire. Behind him, Tony appeared, pointing a finger at Madison's back. "Mr. Davis, it's Pierce's fault. She disobeyed my order." Davis came closer. His face was distorted with horror. "Tell me, what did you do to her? Why isn't my Violet breathing?" At that very moment, Violet suddenly arched her back convulsively, taking a deep, ragged breath. Everyone around gasped. Davis, as if struck down, fell to his knees beside his daughter. Hearing a faint breath, he looked up at Madison, his eyes full of inexpressible gratitude. Tears streamed from his eyes. Paramedic Connor, unable to contain himself, stepped forward. "Madison, you saved another life. You have no idea how much we miss you." Applause filled the lobby. Davis stood up heavily and hugged Madison tightly. Then he turned sharply to Tony, who stood as pale as a sheet. "I could kill you," Davis growled. The paramedics placed Violet on a stretcher. Davis, holding Madison's hand tightly, turned to the crowd. His voice was deep and solemn. "What happened here today is a miracle. This incredible woman gave me back my daughter." The older paramedic couldn't help himself. "What is she doing here? Dr. Pierce is a doctor with a capital D. She's a genius." A new understanding dawned on the billionaire's face. He turned to Madison. "I can't let such a talent go to waste. Madison, you must accept the position of chief of medicine at our new medical center in downtown New York. Your salary will be something you could only dream of." Madison, stunned, was at a loss for words. Davis turned sharply to Tony. "Your incompetence and cowardice will not go unpunished." Then he turned back to Madison with a smile. "Madison, you are our hero." The crowd erupted in applause again.